Hey! It's October 1st, 2018. It's Mike Ratner, also known as Mike Rich, and this is my Wiser report coming to the end. Last night I submitted the final draft in Word to Dr. John, and today I'm just going to review parts of the dissertation. I have it now in a PDF format. I'm experimenting with like EPUB and a couple other like flipbook PDF styles, but hasn't been working out so far. To make it easier for you to read, and this of course is a video for my committee. Hello, I'm going to be putting this on communityconversations.com related to superfluous and extra material that couldn't fit anywhere in the dissertation because it's a digital recording. And some of the things I wish I did have, but were lost, as many of you know from my laptop mishap last year, where I added memory thinking this was a good idea, and it crashed the hard drive, just literally burned out. And I should have grabbed it from the back room, actually. Just keep thinking that, I should show you, because it was a cool laptop, It was the first yoga, you can bend it backwards and do things. It was great. It lasted me traveling around and everything, and pretty beat up, but it did the job. But expanding the memory was not a good idea. It wasn't made to do that, liquid memory. Anyway, so unfortunately, because I didn't really back up a lot of stuff, I lost pretty much everything. And it put me in a little bit of a tailspin that John could tell you about. But the good news is I'm at this point where I put things back together in a way new and better. But some things still were lost. I wanted to share with you some of those interviews. And a couple of the people I had interviewed are no longer with us, and that really is unfortunate because the ones who are still with us, I'm on good terms with, and I could call and we could do a new interview. But this is sort of recall and give thanks and appreciation to the time that they gave to me in doing my research for the Community Conversations project. And other material that I do have and recordings and interviews will be at the communityconversations.com website, and I'll be doing that this week. All right, so let's just pause this for a second, and I'll go right to the screen, and we'll look at what I have. I hope everyone's doing good. All right, I'm going to fade off to the background here. Whee! All right, now let's just go to the page itself. So this is my interview index. It's in the appendix. I think it's in E, Appendix E, in the dissertation. So let's see, we'll just go up over here. All right. Good. All right. So Avis Ridley Thomas, who I got along famously while she was the director of the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office of Mediation. They did a lot of dispute resolution. She was really ahead of her time, as far as my understanding is. When she started the program at Los Angeles, it was the first city to do this, and in that way was really quite remarkable. So I took her training, became a certified mediator, volunteered at the office, attended her workshops, and accompanied her on some of her talks and speeches she gave. It was really great. And then I was off to China, and then some politics happened when I came back, such as me getting this job at the Krishnamurti Foundation. I was supposed to come in as their new program director. I've been attending their programs for quite a long time. They're very big into dialogue, and this particular way of doing dialogue and relating. So Mark Lee was the previous director. I spent a lot of time with him doing workshops again and so forth. Just run through these really quick. I spent a lot of time with Reverend James Lawson, who's still with us, and he would be the same age as Martin Luther King had he still been around. He worked with Dr. King. He was his chief strategist in the nonviolent protest. That's a surprise to a lot of people who didn't know that. They think of Dr. King. He was sort of the face of the civil rights movement, and in the background was Reverend James Lawson, who really until recently has just sort of been getting credit for. I mean, for people who didn't really understand the movement and the role he played. He was the guy behind lunch counter protests, doing a lot of strategies on the strikes, and teaching people how to resist the police tactics and so forth. Really quite fascinating, and I attended his weekly sessions for quite some time. Again, probably up to the time I went to China. Oops. Coming back from China. There we go. Dr. Edgar Mitchell, He was the Apollo 14 astronaut who, on the way back to Earth, sort of had an epiphany of things. And if you know about him, he certainly is fascinating. And talked about the universe of consciousness with me, and that was the one interview that I thought I lost, and I found it on my digital recorder, and then accidentally in transferring or thinking I was erasing files, or transferring the file, erased that interview. But I think it might be backed up somewhere. I hope to find it. It was really a lot of fun, and learned a lot from him as well. He founded IONS, and this interview took place at the conference in 2013. And there's pictures of me and my daughter Ellen, who was 5 or 6 at the time, who we had just returned back from China a couple months earlier. Fascinating stuff. I'm moving on, and then this video is still exists because it's on my resume website, MikeRatner.com. Brian Tracy is a well-known motivation speaker, and I'd interviewed him once on audio when I was in China doing work on this. And he is quite well known in the world. He probably has done more corporate type seminars than any other trainer out there, and really has a good sense of leading groups and so forth. And he speaks on a number of different topics. If you don't know him, you got to find out about him, because he's big. He's probably like number 2 in this world as far as motivation, behind Tony Robbins, who I worked for a number of years. And Guy Finley, if you really want something from the other side, as far as letting go and sort of coming into a sense of conscious awareness, I really enjoyed my time with Guy. I went up to his gatherings a couple times. He had them outdoors a couple summers. And when I was able to sort of do this, I had the opportunity. And then, of course, with family and kids, don't really get to do as much adventuresome travel on my own, per se. I think, when he came to Los Angeles one time, I did bring the kids, and he said they really behaved remarkably well. And so that was really quite amazing. His whole thing is about letting go and living fearlessly and just really being true to yourself, and acknowledges the mass trance exists and loves my theories on things. And I need to get in touch with him. Deepak Chopra, medical doctor, well-known speaker and author as well, talks about raising consciousness and being in the gap. So similar in that regard. Let's see. So let's see. He lives in San Diego. I might see him next January. He's going to be doing a meditation retreat. Ira Shore, that interview I have, that interview was done in June of this year, 2018. He's a contemporary of Paulo Freire, and he talks about critical theory, and we had a great talk, Ira Shore and I. Great interview. He was very generous with his time. Talked over an hour. And we investigated a number of different things, and loved my project. Also was curious about the mass trance, and liked elements of it, was afraid part of it might be oppressive or keep things in a stuck state, which I can appreciate. Fantastic interview. I look forward to getting back in touch with him. And I have one interview coming up, and then it was with Gene Houston, but Daniel Yankovic. This guy, very big in his own way, wrote a number of great books. Met him when he happened to be a guest on somebody else's show on World Talk Radio when I was working there in San Diego. About the time I started my enrollment at Wiser, and he looked like someone's dad I knew. I think Polish Russian background. This guy came from a friend of mine from Chicago, was Polish. I knew it wasn't his dad, but being someone I liked talking to, that was a way to strike up a conversation, and him finding out what my curious interests were led to a number of conversations, and he was a great inspiration. And I was fortunate to be able to talk with him and go to his opening at the Social Science Research Center in San Diego as well. So he is quoted quite a bit in my work because his ideas are prominent in putting together the dissertation. And so let's look at the dissertation. Go all the way to the top here. Oops, there we go. Thank you, everybody. Straighten up my thing, and here we go. It's really quite remarkable that I got to this point. Can I stretch this out a little bit more? I don't think so once I'm recording. Yeah, doesn't let you do it. All right, well, I can shrink down the page. There we go. Not a fancy cover, but it was similar to the proposal from 2016. You go to Google Images, and you can type in Google into Google Community Conversations. You get a lot of stuff, particularly when you go to the Google News section. But in images, there are definitely a lot out there. Again, they're not necessarily related to each other. Most of them don't even know about each other. But anyway, here it is. Got my dedications and everything. Let me do the mouse here, just flip through. Let's go to the table of contents. It's a long table of contents, I admit, because I wanted to get the subtitles in. But we got everything here, and I hope that it'll be appetizing and, as to me, a welcome relief that I got it done and able to turn it in. So it's clickable in the sense that if you want to go on any particular area, like on public hearings, you can go right there, and it goes right to that section. I want to just emphasize a couple things. So in addition to the communityconversations.com, which I will be adding to this week, as I mentioned, I have a public hearing website, because in talking about community conversations as a way of doing public engagement and deliberative dialogue, I reworked the idea or reverse engineered what my concept of public hearings ought to be from what they are now. Got the hierarchy in here. A lot of things to go through. However, I guess I'm not seeing it right now, but you'll see it when you go in. I think it's above this section. Here it is. Maybe the next one. Nope. It's 502 or 3 pages. And I tried to get it right at 500, but couldn't do it. It was almost 550 before condensing it, because it was just going on and on. Anyway, you'll see a link in there, and you can go and check it out. You can click it right through the document. I'll talk a bit more about it later. You know, it's been a lot of work, and I've got like more than 3 or 4 day beard going here. But what I will say is I might take it apart by chapter and go through it. I'm going to get in touch with Marilyn, because we did I think 3 GoToWebinar presentations where like a webinar for community conversations. And this was over a year ago, because I was still in Niskayuna, upstate New York. So I imagine it was probably the early part of 2017 before we moved. And if those are still available, I'll try to put them on the Community Conversations website as well, because it was pretty good, actually. You know, I put together these slides and did this whole presentations, and that was still early on in the dissertation writing phase. But yeah, so there's quite a bit of material here, and of course, I know you'll need time, if you are a member of my committee watching this, to go through everything, and this might just supplement it to go over the nuanced items that might need explaining. And part of that will be talking about the metasphere, my theories of mass trans, self-liberation, and how we connect through dialogue and how community conversation presents sort of a platform and opportunity to relate to each other and sort of break out of our stuck states. All right, well, it seems like I'm losing my voice here. I'm going to sort of take a break here. I mean, I sent this email to John just before midnight. That sort of seems to be the time I send most of my emails to him, at least my updates to my committee. And I'm going to see if I can get the other format going for the dissertation, either as an EPUB or flipbook type thing. If I can't get it done by tonight or tomorrow, being Tuesday, October 2nd, I'll send you just everything that I have and just update the website, then put the focus on that. All right, well, look forward to connecting with you, and thanks again for your support. It's been a journey, right? So that's it for now, and hope that you enjoyed the dissertation. What can I say? It's really something on a number of levels. It's the whole enchilada. You know, I hope it's not too spicy for some. I mean, it's a little bit more rice than maybe I wanted to put in otherwise, but it covers the whole gamut. It pretty much does, yeah. All right, thanks again. CommunityConversations.com. Mike Rich or Mike Ratner. Talk to you later. Thanks.